will Bitcoin hold support around 65,000? I was going to make this video a few hours ago. And it went down here and dipped down in there. And as I turn this on, the second hourly candle, it just so happens is dipping down into that gray box that I have set up from 64,600 to 65,345. In my last video, what I was saying is, watch this, take out this high here, take that off the box, and then I said, watch for that to happen, and then the next thing to watch is to see if Bitcoin can get above this white rectangle I have here highlighted. 65,000 is, give or take in the middle of that, and it got stuck in there for a while, and it fell, and then it blasted back up through it, and it has clearly flipped that from resistance to support. And what I was saying is, if Bitcoin can get up here and start closing candles on hourly, 3 hourly, 12 hourly, daily, and then we might be in business for a run up here to test the all-time high area region. Now, with that being said, this could come back down. It went up pretty quickly. It went up more quickly than I thought. But what I like so far about this is I thought it was probably going up to 69,000. I'll show the Fibonacci levels here in a second. I thought it was going to go a little higher than this, but that's a pretty impressive pump. And what I like about this is that this hasn't come down sharply, and it's showing a lot of strength right there. And I just have just from watching this for such a few years and watching, I really like it. Just feels like a strong, just if I'm gonna go talk about the news stories and stuff and some other stuff, but I mean just gut feeling, this is showing strength. Lots of times this would have dumped by now, probably down to 63,000. So it could still come down to 63. What's going to happen? I'll show you a few things that could happen here. Okay, first, I always talk about, now we're in an uptrend right now, but of course there's always, nothing goes up forever, and there's always pullbacks. So I talk a lot about when you see these big green pumps, just rapid accelerations up, big ones, they tend to come back out at some point. Now it kind of looked like it wanted to go for it here, and it got bought up quick, and this still could come back out. And the fact that it hasn't done it yet is what's making me feel like if it breaks down through here, then watch out for here. This is the 63,000, right? This pump here, it's just a habit. It's not really technical analysis. It's just a pattern that I've noticed, right? And it eventually comes all back out, right? But the thing about that is that's likely, if Bitcoin comes down lower, it's likely bouncing from 63,000. And let's zoom out here a little. And so that would be just a higher low. And that's actually really good news. I've got this yellow ascending trend line here. That was the bottom of a yellow triangle I had down here, a symmetrical triangle. The middle of it was about 57,000. And I took the top one out because that won't be in play, right? It went down here with these green channels descending. I left that there. That's one thing I've noticed to do, is to leave patterns because they come back into play. So, Bitcoin could come down. If you notice, this was a little consolidation here where actually this pump kind of started, technically you could say it started off the $62,000 line. So that very well could come back out too. And, if it does that here and, just kind of what it's looking like, maybe, if it breaks through 63, maybe you wick down here to the 62 area in this general vicinity where that yellow trend line's at. And I really don't see Bitcoin going a whole lot lower than 62,000. If it did, then you're probably talking about this line here at about 60,000. But now let's go talk about why this is probably not going to go that low. Okay, so another thing that could happen is, before I go over there, maybe this 65,000. Maybe this is just it, right? Maybe there's so much hype coming up with the Bitcoin conference. I'm making this video July 24th. The Bitcoin conference is Thursday, July 25th through Saturday, July 27th. There's actually huge news, and we are coming up. I don't want to make this video too long. Have you ever sat and watched, put a pot of water on the stove, and I just kind of sat there and watched right when it starts boiling? Right, there'll be like one little bubble that comes up from one little tiny spot on the bottom of the pot or the pan, right? And then it'll start bubbling a little faster, and then another little spot on the bottom of the pan, a little bubble will come up from there, right? And then another bubble from there, and then you got two spots, and then another little spot on the will start bubbling, right? And then you got three little bubblers, and then that fourth one, and then a fifth one, and then there's all of a sudden there's all these little spots on the bottom of the pan that's bubbling, shooting up streams of bubbles. That's what Bitcoin. That's the bullish sentiment with Bitcoin right now, in my opinion. Now we got this Mt. Gox thing, and I'll get to that here in a second. But this is what I want to talk about. United States Senator is planning to announce legislation for a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And they're talking about the United States of America starting a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So Bitcoin would be an asset that the United States government would invest a lot of money into and use it as a strategic reserve. That's massive news. If you've been following Bitcoin even for a little while, I mean, if you watched last cycle, some of the just over the last 15 years, the things people have said about Bitcoin, and now you have senators and presidential candidates talking about turning it into a United States of America strategic asset. And that goes on to here say, the crypto community is anticipating Trump to endorse the bill at the conference. Now, maybe that doesn't happen, but this is happening. Senator Loomis is going to announce the legislation, present it to the rest of the government to put it through the process. Maybe it doesn't become a bill, but just the fact that that's happening, that's huge news. That's massive news. And then down here below, you got this Mt. Gox thing. There was, like here it says, analysts were saying, there could be a heavy downturn following this distribution of this Mt. Gox funds. Well, this Mt. Gox thing happened like, was it 10 years ago? So it's actually turned out to be a really good thing to the people that lost their Bitcoin back then, because they're basically rich now. And they would have been in Bitcoin for over 10 years now or so, right? You're talking about some of the original people in Bitcoin. They're not stupid. They know what's coming, right? They know that we're about to enter the post-halving pump, and we've got this, all this super bullish news, in my opinion, going on. Are you kidding me? This is what you need. This is, strategic Bitcoin reserve. That the reason that's massive is because, if the United States does it, then who do you think else is going to start doing that, right? There very well could become a supply crunch of Bitcoin, and I'm not saying it's going to happen right now, but that could be a reality, and that just could be a reality, and even if you don't like Bitcoin, right? It literally could be like a tulip mania, right? You know what I mean? Just it could be a mania, just mass delusion, right? But it could. That could happen, right? Because that's the point. That's the point people don't understand, right? Even the super bad critics, the Bitcoin's bad because it's just a mania, right? Well, what if it is a mania? Do you not want to put $100 into this, $1,000 into it? It's just thinking like that, right? My last video, on my other channel, I made a video saying you need to buy Bitcoin out of fear, not out of fear of anything else, but out of fear that Bitcoin could become a Goliath. Maybe it is a tulip mania. Maybe it is just absolutely stupid when a supply crunch happens. Maybe maybe a Bitcoin is going to be worth $10 million in the not too distant future. That sounds so stupid, but that's what could happen. Okay, so Mount Gox, right? They just started paying back people. So this could have been the best thing that happened to people because, back then, these people, they could have sold Bitcoin for, super stupid. They could have got out of Bitcoin, right? But they were kind of forced to be long-term investors, to be hodlers because it got stolen from them. But now it's being returned back to them at this massive price. And so, they were saying, these people might sell, but that's this Mount Gox thing. It's such old news that's just been pumped into people's brain for 10 years that it's probably baked in already, and people probably don't really care. And the only way it can probably really affect the price and make the price of Bitcoin go down is if social media gets a hold of it, and pumps it, and then big players start shorting it, and out of but I don't think they can do that right now because this Bitcoin conference is going to be massive for social media, right? That's basically what we're dealing with right now. Is the social media? Is social media bearish or bullish? That's got to be bullish. For the United States even contemplating making Bitcoin a strategic reserve, even uttering that thought, that's massive news. That's the pot of water just starting to froth over the top over the pot. That's what could be happening. And it doesn't have to happen right now. Just the news of that is massive. And this Beware conference, Bitcoin conference, is coming up over the next 3 days, and it's just too much, man. This Mt. Gox thing is stupid. Even if some of them sold right now, you wouldn't notice that in the price of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a $1.3 trillion market cap right now. Even if every single one of them, out of total ignorance, sold all $12 billion or whatever it is, that would only move the price of Bitcoin down to like $63,000, $62,000 if they all sold every bit of it, and then sat here over the next 6 months and watched the price of Bitcoin go up over $100,000. Right? They're not stupid. That's the point I'm making. These people that got their Bitcoin stolen from Mt. Gox, they're some of the most probably. I would suspect that they've been watching Bitcoin for the last 10 years, right? They're probably heavily involved in what's going on. They've got income and they're doing something else because they're surviving, right? So they don't necessarily need that money, and they're probably pretty savvy people. Why would they sell? Well, knowing knowing where we're at in this cycle. Okay, let me get off of that. Yeah, I like this. It very well could just find support 64,600, the gray box, and if not 63, if not watch 62. And this is, in my chart, in my opinion, this is real strong super support. I'd be pretty well shocked if Bitcoin came down through this area here. If it came below 62,000, if it came below this green descending channel, maybe it wicks down there. But to stay down here, I just don't know how that can happen in the near future. And then you got this orange horizontal line, 60,800. That should be support. And there's just a lot of support here in the low 60,000s. And I wouldn't be too scared about that. Now, maybe it comes crashing down for some weird reason and it puts in a wick to 58,000. So, be prepared for that. But I just don't think it's coming down that low. The pot of water seems to be boiling, and I think that we're probably pretty good to be looking at a new all-time high, at least testing all-time high. Now, another thing that could happen is watch out if it did come down here like this and then make it back up here, and then it's got a bunch of, it's just simmering and steaming. It looks like it's going to break the all-time high, and watch out for the rejection, right? And then dump back down like this, right? Watch out for that. That could be something that happens, and then and then from there, there's a little more consolidation. Why isn't it going up? And then boom, there it goes, right? It's kind of like when you least expect it. There'll be a fake out here and there, but let me go over to my other chart. My last video, I scribbled what I think could happen, and as you can see, I made my last video here, July 15th, I think it was. Sorry for not making a video more recent. That's pretty good. Right now, when I scribble like that, it's just kind of like a frame of reference to think about. That's how I do it anyways. So like, obviously I started out with a valley, right? And it actually started out with a peak, right? and then I peaked, and now the peak's turning to valley. So peaks and valleys might be flip flop, but there it is, right? Just doing it quicker, right? Up, down, right? And maybe down a little further, boom, right? So I think that's still happening, and we're probably testing all-time high. And will we set an all-time high? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes up there, like I said, and fails. And this guy, like I already said, that's a popular Bitcoin, and then it comes down here for another month and a half, and everyone's like, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me! What is going on?" And then everyone's just like, "Oh, this is stupid." Then it goes, But this could be happening earlier too. Don't underestimate the power of Elon Musk putting in laser eyes on his X handle, and there's Larry Fink pumping Bitcoin now. I mean, are you kidding me? Right, the presidential candidate, senators writing bills saying the United States needs to start buying tons of Bitcoin. They're talking about a strategic reserve. They're not just buying. They're not going to just buy a couple million, right? They're going to they're going to make it a reserve if that goes through. And maybe it won't go through this time, but they'll do it again some other time. It's just what's happening. No matter if you like Bitcoin or don't like Bitcoin. I just watched a video of a guy making a video saying Bitcoin's a scam, biggest scam in the world. And it's just, I mean, maybe that's why I'm kind of coming from a weird angle. But no, this is bullish, man. It's bullish. It's bullish all over the place. And, maybe it comes down to 63. And I said that a few times. I like 63 because I do, I don't want to ignore the things I've seen. Like I already said in this video, this big green pump here, it could come all right back out here now. It could come down to 63. But with that being said, I would not be surprised if, the high 64s, just say 65,000. I would not be surprised if it just hung out here, bounced here, and that's just, because it's hard telling, it could get a little, the weekend's coming, and that conference ends on Saturday. So anyways, I'm going to leave that scribble there, and we'll see how that ends up going. It's just too much bullish momentum. It's in an uptrend, and there's going to be pullbacks, and just keep that in mind. Oh, one thing I wanted to do, I don't want to make this video too long. There's a Fibonacci level at about 66,000. I'd like to see Bitcoin get over 66,000. There's like a Fibonacci support resistance area here, around 66,000. That I would like to see Bitcoin when it bounces get above there. And that's about all I got to say. All right. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Later.